Oh my gosh, hello, hello. I might be back on live. It looks like I need to change out that comment there, or my post title. How do I do that again? Edit stream title. I know it's around here somewhere. How did I get to that before? I bet I can do it afterwards, but what the heck? I'm just going to hit it. So, my friends, look at this. 2 days in a row. Holy macaroni. Here we are. Look at this, 12 by 16 canvas. And let's see what's going on. Now, for some reason, when I started up my stream, I can't see, it didn't bring in all that overlay. How strange. Stream manager. Oh, I bet I'll have to wait until I'm done in order to change it. So, well, at least I see the chat now. But here we are. Look at this. I covered the whole canvas with liquid white, and then, well, 2/3 to 3/4 of it liquid white, and I use liquid black. Oh, what a rare day it is. A little bit of liquid black on the bottom. Bring it up, and you start to make this little gray tone where it hits the liquid white. Very, very thin coat. I'm taking some out of my brush, and I'm just going to tap. Holy moly, look at that. Little bush shapes here and there. Maybe a tall one. Some of these we're going to see. Some of them are going to disappear here when we start putting some things on. But let's go ahead. Ooh, watch this. Pick up a little bit of color. I can tap in a little bit more. Just a little bit. Now if I pick up a little bit of that black and tap a little harder, ooh-wee. Look how it creates a darker, closer looking one. And that first one that I tapped just becomes very, very far away. I'm going to try to do the same thing. I'm just going to take out as much paint as I can and very lightly tap. You can make some little far away ones. Pretty sweet. All right. Oop, there's my phone alerting me to my streaming. So let's clean out this brush. I want to clean it out because that liquid black really likes to stain. Gives you a really good reminder that you used it. So if you're watching this on the YouTube after the fact, thanks for coming out to my channel. And let's put in a crazy sunset. Crazy. Ultra nutty. I'm taking a little bit. Look at this. I didn't even clean my palette from yesterday. It's going to get really tough to clean the longer I leave it. A little bit of the cadmium yellow. We're going to do this ultra fast here. Let's see if we can do this Bob speed. A little bit of bright yellow. The more I work it, the lighter it gets. So let me add just a little bit more right there in the center and work it out. There we go. I think I still have a little bit of liquid black. It looks like it's starting to dull on me. I'm going to take a little bit of Indian yellow and drop it in here and there. Push hard to move paint and blend paint soft to take out any brush marks. I'm going to move right on over to a little bit of yellow ochre. Drop some in here and blend it at the same time. I'm just going to move on, drop it in, soften it super quick, call it good. Maybe even a little over here. What the heck? All I'm going to stir out my brush onto a paper towel here just to get some of the excess color out of it. Mostly the liquid white. I don't really mind too much about the yellow ochres and such, but the liquid white, I don't want to keep lightening things when I go over them. So just go over it super briefly, and look at these 3 different colors we got going on. Pretty cool. Let's move on over and get a little bit of alizarin crimson, touch of white, and let's drop this crimson in. It's like making a big old funky fried egg. That's a funky fried egg. Look at that. The more you work it, all those colors start melting together. I can make all this yellow disappear if I were to go too far into it. I just want to blur it a little bit. I'll come back and do the softening in another minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to a little bit of that alizarin crimson and some white, touch of blue, oh so little blue. And I tap, and I tap, and I tap. Trying to think of what color I want, what kind of purple. Ooh, that's pretty, still on the little bit of red side of purple. Drop in some of that. Not the purple I thought I was going to do, but it looks pretty good. Let's see if I tap in just a little touch more of the phthalo. Darken this purple down a little bit. Oh, that's what I was looking for originally. You know what? It'll all work out. It will all work out. Drop some color in there. Maybe just go right on over some of that. And Bob was right. Some of that black will remain. Just some little hints of those bushes. Alright, now I'm going to clean the brush. And maybe on the easel for our Bob tribute. Maybe a little bit more. Really want this brush dry, so I'm actually going to put my palette down, get my paper towel, and really get out all that paint thinner. Ooh, that's better. Now I'm going to soften that yellow first. Clean my brush as I'm going here and start blending. Oh, look at that. Some of that red does come over. It will come over. And kind of give you some orange tones here. The less you mess with it, the less orange tones you get. Hitting those reds now and the purple. Bringing that purple just a little bit over the red. Cleaning that brush thoroughly as you go. Doesn't take much effort to clean it thoroughly. You just got to scrub it into that paper towel. And every time you do this, it's going to be different. I think my liquid white that I put on just before I hit record and stream was a little heavy today. It was a little bit more there. So things get a little soupy a little quicker when you have a little bit bigger amount. A little bit thicker layer than other times. Little bit of titanium white. Is this white titanium? Oh, it's got a little blue in it, doesn't it? There's a little bit of white. rub in a little sun. There we go. Is it mostly circular? Break out the calipers. It's mostly circular. And there was the 2-inch brush I used to put the liquid white on. I cleaned it out pretty well. Just want to soften it. I didn't want to get any kind of purple going. So it's just a little bit of convenience there. We'll see what happens when you keep touching it. It will keep putting liquid white on there for you. It always amazed me when Bob swept across the whole thing and he didn't really drag it. The idea is going super duper light. Now we got a nice sky happening. A nice sky. So, let's see what we're going to do here. We're going to put in some lovely foliage. And to do that, I got to put out just a little bit more color here. Maybe, just maybe, a little bit of mountain mixture, a little bit of the sap green. And while I'm doing this here, I'm going to put out a little bit of brown. We're going to have some branches and trunks and such. So, best color for that is a nice brown. And maybe to highlight, a little dark sienna. Now we're cooking. So, let's make up a decent pile to put all those shadowy undercolors on. We'll start with that crimson, and we'll make a purple color. No white this time. Just a lovely purple. If it's a touch to the blue side, that's okay. Because I'm just going to take that purple and mix it with all of my mountain mixture. I'm going to add a little lump of green, maybe a bigger lump of green, and then a smaller lump of brown. What that does is it gives us lots of variation. You don't have to overmix it. Just need a lot of it. There we go. If you look at this closely, you can see there's some streaks of green in there and some other colors. Did I even get it in the right position? Something like that. I don't have fancy cameramen switching between views. I gotta just go with myself here. And let me clean out that 1-inch brush. It looks like we're working with the 1-inch brush a whole lot today. I do have the black-handled oval brush, but let's try the 1-inch brush. I need a little practice with that. Pulling some color in, tapping it into the bristles, using both sides of the brush. Bringing the brush handle over and down, that way I'm touching with the corner. You see that? The rest of the brush will hit, some of the bristles will hit. But you kind of use that corner as your guide to create a basic shape and create all these little leaf effects. Just by tapping and letting the brush do it. Look at this, we can climb upwards, create a little canopy. It's up to you. Now we see some of those liquid black shapes in there. I'm trying not to cover them all up, but a couple of them inevitably get covered. That's okay. We'll see what we can do about saving some. Now these are coming off a little bit light, and that's no problem. The lighter they are, they just look a little further away. And you see I'm just working my way down, right down to where the white transitions into black. Now if I take my brush and go into just a little bit more on the brush, you see a little bit more texture now in my tappings. when I tap, I can create a darker one. It's just a little bit more paint. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And it looks like this layer of bushes is in front of the first ones. I love that effect. Bob shows us here that as things get closer to us, they get darker and more detailed. There we go. A couple of layers happening. And I just got a new follower on Twitch. I think that's good enough. Good enough. Now, before I put in some highlights here, maybe just a couple of branches. So I'm thinning down a very small amount of that same color. And I like to test myself here. I put in very little so I don't accidentally overdo it. You don't want super dark ones going onto these light trunks here. So you can make sure you can test it on your palette space. You can do some of the darker ones first. So if they do come off a little too bold, at least they're in the darker ones. And then as you run out of paint, then you can slip back here and drop in a couple, and they'll automatically come out a little bit lighter. Oh, there we go. Something like that. Something like that. Some of them are going to disappear anyway, so if there's any that you don't really like, don't worry, we can cover them up. So, I'm going to clean out that same 1-inch brush. I really like the texture that this kind of hairy brush is giving me. And different brushes, what I mean is different brushes change as they quote-unquote age. As you use them and they get a little more worn out, each one kind of develops its own little personality. See, this one here on the left is different from the one on the left now. I should have explained that. The one over here, the one on the right, is the one I've been using. So you can kind of see they have little different qualities to them. So I'm going to stick with the same brush for my highlights and my shadows and just see how things progress. So I don't even think I need to thin the paint down. This Indian yellow is a little bit thinner than these thicker, darker colors, so I think I'll be able to get this to stick without having to force it with a little bit of liquid white or whatnot. So, same concept with the handle over and down. I'm tapping at it. And look at that. But you need plenty of paint right up in the tips of the bristles. I don't have much Indian yellow on my brush, so I think this is about the only tree I'm going to be able to do with it until I get some more out on the palette. So I'm going to switch right over and start tapping into a little bit of the yellow ochre. Also a pretty thin color right out of the tube, thinner than the darker colors. Ooh, frog in my throat, excuse me. Now that one there, to be honest, it was sitting out all night and it might have thickened up a little bit. Nothing wrong with trying it, but I put a little bit of liquid white just to loosen it a little bit more. And I want to get some paint right up on the tips of those bristles. Oh, look at that. It comes right off then, doesn't it? The other method is to use a single drop of the paint thinner. A little goes almost too far. So one drop at a time. Maybe another yellow ochre one. Where should it be? Maybe back here. There we go. Now what I like to do is I'll switch up a color here. I'm going to move right over to the cadmium yellow. Now the cadmium yellow is a little bit thicker out of the tube than the other yellows. So I am going to use a drop of the paint thinner. I don't want to lighten it. I do want to tint it with a little bit of the sap green though. Sap green and cad yellow make a lovely, almost spring-like green. It just really, really sets it off. Plenty of color in the brush, different from the ones around it. And look at that, look at that, look at that. Such a wonderful color. I'm going to load my brush and just change it a little bit darker green. Right up on the tips of the bristle. And let's put one back there. As I'm working down the tree, I try to leave a little bit of that shadow color so that the highlight really stands out. And let's see, even a little bit more green. Loading my brush often, creating these little clumps and lumps. And maybe this tree, bush, comes all the way down. That one's all in front. All in front. There we go. Now, I'm going to go back and add a little bit of bright red to my yellow ochre. Kind of creates a duller, even with that green, that dulls it down too. And it just makes an interesting contrast to the previous colors. These little dull things. Couple here, couple there. And then, once your brush gets a little too much red and too much green in it, you get brown. It starts to turn to mud right there on your brush. So there's nothing wrong with starting from scratch. You just clean out your brush, go right back into your colors, remake your colors. It only takes a moment or two once you get the hang of this. A little bit of tapping. Watch this. If I take just a little bit of the phthalo blue, that makes a different looking green, doesn't it? A little more emerald green. And that's a good one for right up front. All these different little ones here, all kind of working together, kind of working around each other. Something like that. Pretty, 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 pretty. I'm not even going to bother cleaning that brush. What I am going to do, clean out my titanium white that got a little contaminated with the crimson. There we go. And I'm going to go over to my once used fan brush here. A little bit of the liquid white. Thin that titanium white down. Well, I don't know. My chat window is not showing anyone saying anything, so I don't know if anyone's there, but I welcome you. If you're just watching and not chatting, that's okay. We're going to have a little stream in here, so let's just move that and then bloop, bloop. Little splashes. Working here and there. I tell you, I think I need the hintiest of hints of phthalo blue in my mix. Just something to make it a little bit off-white. And more paint in the brush so that it comes off a little easier. Ooh, that blue. That's a strong color, all right. There we go. Ah, I like that. Very baby blue. And maybe just another little bloop, bloop, bloop. Falls over to the right. Maybe there'll be a rock there and it kind of splits on us. Scritchy scratch, bloops, verticals, and some splashes at the bottom. And then that little stream just keeps going. Splashes here and there. I think I need just a little bit more white. Scratching some, and then, oh, there's a big one. We got some action happening now. It's picking up all that liquid black pretty easily, doesn't it? I just wipe some of it away and then I come and reload. That way, we keep that color the way that we like it. Wow, a little bit more splashes. When I hit that splash, I like to blend out the bottom of it. Just makes it look a little more natural. And one more way that Bob was right, it helps to make the noises. It really does. Clean out that fan brush. Now, I don't know why I said it like that, but now I'm going to come back to my greens. A little bit more sap green, maybe a touch more of the phthalo blue. Pulling some of that color down and pushing it back up. And let's make a little bit of grass. Look how it hits that liquid black and it just immediately dulls it out as I move my way down here. We're going to come back and add in some other things here. I just wanted to get the lay of the land started. Looking nice. And back here as well. Gonna have a little bit of grass to see what's what here. I think that's good enough for now. Now, do I have a brush out here already? Oh, no. Oh, I thought I did, but I didn't. Well, that's all right. All my brushes are right over here. Now, I use these crazy totes here to haul around all my brushes that I use for classes. So I've got my choice of like 20 different of these filbert brushes. Now to get this to work here, I'm going to need a little bit more white. I'm going to take a little bit of my white and a little bit of liquid white, and I'm just mooshing it together. Just want a kind of a sloppy, mostly flat pile. Now, you can add a little bit of browns to it, in this case a little bit of dark sienna, but it's not necessary. Just depends on, well, you of course. Depends on what you like. So now, let's make some of these river stones here, these one-stroke marvels. Never thought I could do these. Both sides got some brown in it, maybe a little bit of a dark sienna kind of mixed in with it. I pull one side through the light, one side is the dark. So that when I'm putting these on, we're creating both colors, the shadow and the highlight. And as you do this, this brush starts to get a little deformed, so there's nothing wrong with stopping and reloading as you need to. Now you can make them flat or a little bit more exposed. Look at that. We can create vertical ones, and we're just filling in the spot here. Think about how the land flows, and when you start running out of paint or the brush gets a little too mushed up, just wipe off the light stuff, reload the dark stuff, pull back through the light stuff, and you are ready to go again. I do like making these a little bit vertical lately. Look at that. It's like the stream has gouged out all the dirt and the rocks are containing it. And then we like to have maybe a couple of flat rocks in here. I do like these little flat rocks here. It's like you can go right up to the water, kneel down, do your washing, and you know, you're camping out here. You gotta have somewhere where you can use the water there and while you're camping, wash your pots and pans. This is a rocky one. This is a rocky one. You don't have to fill it all in if you don't want to. You put as many or as few in there as you want. I'm putting a lot more in here than Bob did in his example, just because I'm having so much fun. This is fun for me. I do like that flat looking one. And overlap, that's what creates a pretty cool effect here. It helps with perspective. Now we're going to make a big one. There's a big old monster one here. And he's got some friends. Almost like cliffs. So excited I had some time just to chill out and paint some giant rocks with y'all. This one here's got a bit of a funky shape to it. And don't worry about anything going on here. Anything you don't like, we can cover up. And we are going to put some stuff in here. We're going to put in some grass and little lichen and moss or whatever. So you put in as much or as few rocks as you like. And when you're done, really clean out that brush. You notice when you're watching Bob here, he never puts his knife down dirty. Whenever he's done with it, you'll always see him clean and wipe it before he sets it aside. If you get into that habit, well, you'll just have a cleaner workspace. Guarantee you. All right, so I can use this same color. I still have this dirty 1-inch brush, and you can continue tapping in some land here. Look at that. We can create all sorts of little meadows and prairies. I don't really know the word. Frankly, I'm just talking to hear my own voice sometimes. There we go. And any of these dark, dull spots, anywhere in between, well, you just watch this. This is going to be sneaky. I'm going to take a little bit of that cad yellow, a little bit of that sap green, maybe a touch of the phthalo blue, Maybe a little bit more of that yellow that I find, whatever you got laying around here. And I'm tapping, getting some paint right up on the tips of these bristles. And now I can use this to sneak in a little bit of grass and lichen and whatever you want to call it in between the rocks. Some of this stuff wants to grow right up to the water's edge, so let it. Some of my fondest memories of walking in the woods is coming across these little streams and all this little moss and lichen covered rocks. Really makes you appreciate nature. Helps push those rocks down into the, make it look like they're underneath the ground. Half of this rock we're not even seeing. It's all sunken and buried still. I like that. I think that adds a little bit of something there. While I'm messing around with that, I might as well come back and pick up a little bit of that white again. Liquid white, titanium white, touch of phthalo blue. And I can add in some more splashes right around here and blend them around. Create a little bit more crash over if you like. Put some splash around here. That water is lapping back and forth right around these rocks. Hit a little bit. A little bit of movement there. Helps define where the water is being contained. Don't kill all the darks though. And while I have some on the brush, man, I am just going crazy here. Let's flick a little bit of splash. Just a little bit here and there. Those little bits of lichen get their water too. Might be hard for you to see there, but it's there. Now, well, we could finish that painting just as is, but I think there's got to be something. Do you know what it is? Some big old trees, that's right. Where is my liner brush? Now I'm going to take, and I'm melting down here with my paint thinner, a little bit of Van Dyke Brown, maybe a little bit of dark sienna gets in there too. And let's make a couple of tall trees. Maybe one's growing right from here. Push in firm. I start working my way up. Just let it trail off. Maybe a little taller. Oh, that's a big one. Make it a little wider at the bottom. Having a hard time getting it to flow off, just add a little bit more paint thinner. Couple of these little ones coming off from the main branches. We got ourselves a little tree trunk. One tree is fun, more trees are funner. Let's try a different approach here. I'm going to start light And then as I go down, I just push a little harder to make it a little wider at the bottom. And that tree can kind of figure out where it wants to end all on its own. Sometimes you got to make a little adjustment. I get it. Make it a little bit darker here and there. But keep in mind, if you're going to add little bits of foliage, you don't have to go crazy with it, trying to make everything look perfect. We just cover it up with the foliage. And all the branches don't all have to go any one particular direction. Change some of these, let them grow sideways here and there. There we go. Always clean that liner brush. It really helps. So let us figure. I think I am going to use that black handled oval brush. What the heck? A little bit of that dark mixture. I'm adding a little bit more green to it. I want it to be a little brighter because it's out there, right in there in the sky. Let's see how that looks. Little taps. Little clumpers. As I'm working my way away from it, I'm adding a little bit more of the dark. There we go. Don't need a ton of them. Some clumps, some not so clumpy. It's up to you. There we go. Don't want to kill all this stuff here. So, rather than use a brand new brush, since I'm done with this oval brush, I'll just clean it, and I can use that to do my highlights. Now, the highlight color, what will stand out? What will stand out? I think using that Indian yellow is a good idea. So let me get a little more of that on my palette space here. I'm going to take my knife and flatten it down. Somewhere I just touched my palette. Where did I touch it? Oh, it was right there. So, a little bit of the liquid white will lighten this up a little bit. And a touch of the paint thinner just to make sure it comes off very, very light. And that right there, that's where I need to put some highlight. I just scraped it with my palette. So, no mistakes, just some happy accidents. Nice sun streaking through and kissing all these leaves. Nice and bright. go. And I think for the one over on the other side, let's put a little bit of bright red into that yellow ochre. Make it the firecracker Bob talks about. Do you like those firecrackers? Now, especially for that one little part there, where I touched it with the easel here, we just need to make sure we get a little more paint on the brush so I can put it right on over that trouble spot. And sometimes it helps to take a step back, double check yourself. Trouble spot averted. Very nice. I'm going to come back with my green color. Just hide that trunk, the foots. I think we've got ourselves a completed painting. There's often times here where I don't use the bright red to sign, just because I didn't really use bright red in the painting, so I'll just use a different color. But today we got the bright red out, so let's sign like Bob did here. Get it nice and bright. Plenty of color so it flows off just the tip of the brush. And I like to put the year. There we go. Immediately wash that script liner. Try to keep it looking pretty. So there we go. This was based off of my one-a-day calendar, and I think there was more going on in there, but this was season 18, episode 13. Made some little changes. Oh, look at that. Had to wait on 7 ads. So give this one a try. Let me know what you think, and you can always follow me on my website, see where I'm painting at. Oh, I gotta like really put up my tiptoes here. But this was fun, and I've got some more days off coming up here. I got more paintings to do, so hopefully you'll see me again. Good to see you there, Marie and Miss Gallagher. When? Well, geez, I don't know. I got a class tomorrow. Thanksgiving is Thursday, so perhaps Friday. Yeah, maybe Friday. Take care. I gotta change this. Then how are we to know? I don't know. Maybe if I figure out this doggone this Twitch thing, and I could put like, you know, a countdown or something. Maybe hire Lady Gallagher's husband to run my Twitch channel. Oh, man. All right. Talk to you later.